So Rich, okay, you got me on camera. You got the queen pin on camera. You guys are seeing me for the first time.
Good.
Yeah, you got the announcement. The queen is here. So hello, everyone.
We're starting in phases. She may be a little blurry. She's going to get a better lighting kit next.
Yes.
Yeah, but at least we get to see you.
I know. Everybody's been wondering like what, and the funny thing is people have come to events because I've invited them to events and passed me and had no idea that they passed me.
Right.
And people are like, yeah, well, I've been hearing about this queen pin. And I'm like, standing right there, not saying anything. So it's hilarious.
Yeah. This should be good though.
So yeah. Except for the time that I got recognized at a CVS, finding out that the staff listened to my podcast. And I was like, how do you know it's me? And we're like, we all know it's you.
Right.
So
yeah, like I said to you before, a lot of people I think originally like to listen to podcasts because they could be doing other things, right? It could be in a car or working out or when they're going to bed.
Guys, whatever. If you're watching this is going to be both audio and video. If you're listening, you can find us on YouTube. But yes, and this is something collaborative that both Rich and I came up with. He actually allowed me to take the reins, and for those that don't know, he doesn't know he's in for a bumpy ride because I am the queen of pork.
I like it.
Yeah, so we just decided because you are dealing with confidence and I get all these questions about relationships and people started asking me and I'm like, wait a minute, how in the world does couponing have to deal with relationships? But I got more questions about relationships at one point than I did about couponing and budgeting.
I believe it.
So let's get into this. Like one of the things that I did come across, and guys, don't be afraid to write in your questions, call us, email us, text us, voice message us, because you have the questions. And sometimes, and I've been in that predicament too, where your significant other is going to get, a little emotional and you don't want to ask the question. So you'd rather get a question from someone else. And that's what we're here for. We don't want that whole, we're here to build you up and help you out. That's really what it is. But we want to keep it fun and light. So yeah.
Sure.
But one of the things that came up was, and I was just talking to you about this, was the lady was in a discount store and this gentleman comes up to her and he says, hey, I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to help you out. And she's just like, you're broke. I'm not dealing with you. But they're in the same discount store. Like she doesn't even recognize it, but she's calling him broke. Yeah. And then he finally gets this hey, wait a minute. You're here too. You're shopping too. You have a shopping cart. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
So how do we handle this? Because it's just wrong. And I tell women this all the time, your approach should not be, hey, it's perfect for me, but for a guy, he has to be shopping at Williams Sonoma, or he has to be shopping at Ralph Lauren, or something like that, in order for him to be able to approach me. Like if you are shopping at Dollar Tree, you should not be expecting a guy to be shopping at Lord and Taylor.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's I think one of the things is, and this is something that's come up. Oh my gosh, I hate when this happens. My phone, I usually have it off, guys. You guys know this. But one of the things is, what do you bring to the table? Right. And this has been this ongoing talk. What do you
thinking? What do they have to offer? They're thinking what the other person has to offer them.
Right. And I'm just one of those people of, if you and I go out to dinner, and to me, it's a matter of who invites who. If I invite you out to dinner, I'm not expecting you to pay. unless you're saying, hey, we've both got clients, we've both got this, we've both got that, and we're splitting the bill.
Yeah, and also, is it a friendship or is this a date?
Right. But the thing is, to me, even in a dating situation, to me, it's who invited out who. If I invite you out to dinner, I expect to pay.
Okay.
And that's just my thought on it.
Sure. I get it. That's a great way to approach it. I don't think most women approach it that way.
No.
Let's call it for what it is.
No.
Well, a lot of women, and we discussed this, I think, before, are used to being pursued. They also don't know what it is to be a man to constantly be rejected a lot of times, right? Yeah. Especially if they're not as beautiful as a woman. There's a lot of handsome dudes out there too. I'm not going to say that are in great shape. But back to if you're both in Dollar Tree, I'm going to tell people out there what you're underestimating is a lot of men and women shop at Dollar Tree that may be low level, mid, or high. Because a lot of people, especially if they have a business, may be shopping at a place like that. So you think this dude's some nobody, hypothetically, and he's just there to pick up some cups one day or pick up some whatever for a party, hypothetically, or his kids like that place, or it's like Five Below or something.
Right.
You don't realize what type of person he truly is or what type of money. Because a lot of guys that are cheap or, are frugal, not necessarily even cheap, they have the money. So they're looking at him. He doesn't have the money, but they think they're going to go to Gucci and meet a dude there. You don't realize a lot of those guys are in debt a tremendous amount of money, only value maybe their image. They may have a wardrobe worth $100 grand, but they can't pay rent or their car payment. So you may look at people differently when you're trying to save money. Why would you devalue somebody else trying to save money?
Right. And I tell you this coming from, guys, remember, I am the coupon queen. So my thought is, let's save as much money as we can. Because I will tell you, all of this was under $40. So, let's do bougie on a budget. Let's not, and if a guy is doing bougie on a budget, he's balling on a budget, let's do it. I'm the type of person, and you and I have talked about this as well. In other words, especially when you're first getting to know someone and you are trying to impress, or trying to not really impress, but find out who they are. Let's not use the impressed word. Let's not use the I word, but trying to find out who they are. Invite them to coffee. Absolutely. Take them out for pizza. Go for a walk in the park. Find out who they are. Something that's not really where you're not spending money. Find out if they are in it for the money, if they are in it because they saw you driving the fancy car, because we want to know who people are before we jump into it with them. And that's the truth.
Yeah, I read about my book, Wingman, about how a lot of people devalue each other, right? When meeting them. And they don't understand too, that a lot of times you may be somebody who doesn't have as much as whoever you're approaching, or vice versa. But in the future,
Rich, I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. Oh, okay. I don't know if it was your internet or my internet.
I haven't seen anything yet. It could be whoever.
Okay. But go ahead. You were saying in the future, what?
Yeah. So like in my book, Wingman, I talk about if you meet somebody or you even end up dating somebody, just because they're in a better financial position than you doesn't mean in the future they're going to be in a better situation for the rest of your life. Just because you have more possessions at one time and they don't have many possessions doesn't mean on the flip it's going to go the other way. Same with beauty, right? You may be a lot more beautiful or handsome than the other person, but that doesn't mean in the future it's going to be that way. So all that, though, in my opinion, all we're doing is devaluing one another, because the truth is, when you meet me, for instance, me and you, we're friends. You don't know my credit score. You really don't know what type of car I drive. You don't know where I live.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying all these things. Am I going to, you're going to devalue me because you don't know about that? Are you going to judge me off of social media presence? Would I do that to you? Of course not. Not only that, it's really none of my business unless you want to tell me this.
And I think that's where we are not getting to, is the point that, guess what? It's not any of your business. I don't pay your bills. You don't pay mine. So it's not, but I think this is one of the things that social media has moved, is this hierarchy of, oh my gosh, they're spending money. You've got to spend, you've got to spend. I saw one of the craziest things over, and we all do it as parents, we all do it. We want people to know what our kids got for Christmas.
Sure.
But I saw this person on my Facebook timeline, and she is taking pictures of her tree. Like, she's taking a video of her tree. Mm-hmm. And each level of the tree has money pinned to it.
Okay.
And it has the kid's name. And she's like, I gave both of my daughters $5,000 for Christmas, plus all of these presents. That is great. But mm-hmm. what is that doing to the people who cannot do that? Yeah. Whether it's something you can afford or whether you are doing it for a stunt, mm-hmm. what is that doing to the esteem of people that feel like they can't do that? Right. And now, even if you're friends, and honestly, I am friends with this person. I know this person. I've known her for a long time. So it's like, I am not pressed by that. Mm-hmm. But there are other people that may feel now, I can't hang out with her. She's able to buy gifts and give her kids $10,000.
Right.
And this is a mindset. And I think this is what social media is doing.
Well, I think sometimes, though, people are doing that, not just for attention sometimes. I think they want to feel good about themselves. And maybe they've worked really hard, and maybe they're giving their kids something they never gave, that they had the opportunity of having. So I think a lot of us kind of react and go, look at this person, they're showing off. And also, why would you give your kids all this money? What are they going to do with that money? I'm just saying. But again, it's none of my business what she does, because her kids may take it and invest it. I don't know what they do. Right. Maybe her kids are incredible and they're really good students. I don't know how old they are. I don't know, what they did throughout the year. They may actually deserve that money. I don't know. But we can't let it affect the way we want to raise our kids or our behavior, or let that make us insecure as a parent.
And I think that's where I'm getting to, is that it does kind of make us, it works on us. It works on us on a level of, hey,
if you allow it to.
Exactly. If you allow it to.
Yeah, it's like if I'm on TikTok and I see this guy showing all these different sports cars, I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't mind having that car. It's $400,000, or that car for $500,000. Am I gonna feel degraded or make myself feel horrible because I'm not affording that car? But I've had very expensive cars, and I know a lot of times the money you lose by purchasing those cars. I know the maintenance problem when dealing with that car. I know the stress of having a very high-end car, taking it out, somebody, damaging it, or if there's an accident, or borrowing your car, or even parking it, all that stress. So again, a lot of people too, they don't know what the flip side of it is. But you say, I used to work at Neiman Marcus, and I used to call for wealthy people, it's Walmart. And you'd have people come in that just, to them, it's like shopping at Target or Walmart. It's no big deal. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. That just means they can afford these things very, they can go spend 10, 20 grand. You can't be mad at them for that, or look at them and go, look at them. Why? Look at, they're getting Versace, they're getting Gucci. Look at, they're showing off the way they dress. That's kind of an insecurity on the person saying that about that person. Because a lot of people, if they had more wealth, I can assure you they would be buying these luxury items. They would be probably showing them off as well.
Exactly. And I think that's where we need to get to. But this is like the kind of thing that we're going to go through. In other words, we are here because you are the image consultant. And the funny thing is, okay, I spoke to some of my podcaster friends who listened to the episode when I had you on CQP Moments. Okay. We're like, he can't be over 50. And I was like, yeah, he is.
You got to look at me. Believe me. I'm going on 53. I look like a punching bag sometimes.
Oh, please. Rich, you look amazing. You look amazing. Okay, but I do have to ask this question, and this is personal for me because I hear this all the time. What is with guys and this whole, like, they get over 40 and it's like, I'm old. Yeah. What is that?
Well, I'll tell you, I think we discussed a little bit this before. Yeah, they feel old because a lot of them don't take care of themselves. And a lot of them didn't not only take care of themselves as far as working out or maybe, that, but also not getting enough sleep, not getting the right amount of nutrition, the lifestyle they led. And also a lot of guys, I'm just going to say, if you're a military guy, or let's take you do physical labor, yeah, these guys are beat up. I have a lot of family members that are 40 that look 60. I did physical labor for a long time as far as picking up equipment. We did the vending business. I was in and out of a lot of bars. I'm just around a lot of smoke, alcohol, and drugs, but it wasn't physical labor like I'm painting or I'm out doing construction legit, or even having the stress of being a fireman or a policeman. Not only is that hard work, but the stress involved with my job. So, I also think those guys that feel old over 40, they can feel much better and have a lot more energy. They have to, though, change up their lifestyle, which a lot of them aren't willing to do, because a lot of them work their ass off. Then afterwards, they sit in a bar. And I get it. A lot of them don't have, they don't have the energy to go work out. I get it.
Right.
But they also can be, again, eating better foods,
right.
maybe going to bed, maybe getting more sleep, taking a nap, all these different types of things. And that goes for women as well. Let's face it. If you have 3-4 kids and you're 40 now, you're going to feel beat up. If you had no kids and you're 40, I would think most likely, unless you did drugs and alcohol or beat yourself up, a woman that's got 3-4 kids compared to a woman that doesn't, we're going to feel entirely different.
Right.
So, but it's like I said, to make these changes, you have to want to change yourself. And again, a lot of men carry a lot of weight, especially over 40. I don't know if you've heard this stat, but I think over 45 to 70, most men gain a pound a year. So if you look at them, the belly. So a lot of 60, 70-year-olds, as you see, they're way overweight. It's all mainly in the belly. In the
right. I have seen that. I have seen that.
So if you lose some of that, the thing is with a lot of guys is at the beginning in their 20s, they may be, especially after they get married, they're 10 pounds overweight, right? Then they're 15 pounds overweight. By the time they hit 40, they think they're in okay shape. But the truth is they're probably 30 pounds overweight. But we just kind of become acceptable to be that heavy. I saw a photo not long ago of a company that was in the 70s and 80s. And then they showed them, and maybe even, and then they showed the company like now in the last decade previously, and how everybody in the 70s, they were thin. They all were fit. And now, I'd hate to say it, a lot of them, a majority of them were obese, the men and the women. Right. So if you go back to pictures of our past and now, look at the sizes. I mean, men and women, again, they just keep getting bigger. And I think it's not about fat shaming or, all that stuff. I think people sometimes really have to address themselves, not always each other, to say, I'm overweight, man. I just, like a lot of people stand and they take photos, suck their stomach in. They don't even realize when they sit down, the belly that's sticking up or the rolls. So all that I think just becomes very daunting. And it's not about just when you're 40. If you feel like shit at 40, what are you going to feel like at 70? What are you going to feel like 75? Maybe even 60. So those are things you got to think about.
Definitely. And I think that's the one thing is being open and willing to change.
Yeah.
Being open and willing to change. And what I mean by that is, just really, how can I put it? Just really saying, okay, you know what? I'm not happy.
Mm-hmm.
And how can I, because you know what? I'll be real with you. Really 100% candid. You see me on camera. I was 400 pounds at one point.
Jesus, that's unreal.
I was 400 pounds at one point. So I was not, and this was when I would say P90 was out, not P90, P90X, all that stuff.
Sure.
I was not looking to jump up and down. And I honestly, I was one of those people, burpees were the devil. Yes. Okay. Sure. So I was not looking to do all of that. But I said, how could I change? How could I do something if I want to get there? And one of the things was, we always think, oh, I need to lose this amount of weight. No. Yep. One of the things that I learned that honestly couponing taught me was take 2%. You don't need to work on 50%. You don't need to work on all of that. 2%.
Yep.
And it's just a 2% change.
Yes.
I started changing how I was eating. And it wasn't a large thing. It was
not like you had to go on an unrealistic diet and do an insane workout either.
Right. Because that's one of the things. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, all I can do is eat salad. And I have to work out 8 hours a day. First of all, there are 24 hours in a day. And if you're working a full-time job or you've got other things to do, the kids come, everything, you don't have 8 hours to work out for the day. Seriously.
It's not good physically anyways to even work out for more than a few hours, unless maybe you're a professional athlete, you know what you're doing.
Right. So
it's different.
It just like, you have to think, I don't have this insane amount of time. I don't want to reach, because I'm the type of person, the more you tell me I can't have it or I can't do it, I'm going to want to.